also include a recommendation feature that allows customers or tourists to discover new food establishments. Furthermore, the application must also include a navigation feature. Problem requirement matrix. Problem does not include food establishment in the Rizal province. Requirement number 1. The proposed application will be focusing on food establishment selected tourist spots in the Rizal province. Difficulty in choosing a food establishment to dine in. Requirement number 2. The proposed application will display a variety of food establishment and a choice of different views, such as mountain, city, and lake, to choose from. Returns limited generic information about the food establishment. The proposed application will provide important information about the food establishment, including rating, type of cuisine, estimated price, parking information, schedule, views such as mountain, city, and lake, and location. Lack of ways to discover new food establishment to dine in. Requirement number 4. The proposed application will have a recommendation feature. It will also include rating and comments that the consumer can use. Next slide po.
Our assumption of the study: there is no significant relationship in the accuracy of KainSaan customers or tourist decisions in terms of type of cuisine, estimated price, parking information, schedule, views such as mountains, cities, and lakes, and locations. Next slide. Or on our general objective: to design and develop a user-friendly Android mobile application that will automate an additional process of finding food establishments along selected tourist spots in the Rizal province. Next slide. On our specific objectives: to develop KainSaan where users can discover a variety of food establishments and satisfies users' need for food establishment information available along selected tourist spots in the Rizal province. 2. To measure accuracy of KainSaan's customers and tourist decisions in terms of type of cuisine, estimated price, parking information, schedule, views such as mountains, cities, and lakes, and location. 3 is to measure KainSaan user acceptance based on functionality, reliability, usability, efficiency, maintainability, and portability. Next slide. On to our scope. The location of these food establishments are along selected tourist spots in the Rizal province. The food establishments that are available in the KainSaan application will be cafes, eateries, carinderia, fast food chains, and food parks. The population involved in these studies are tourists and food establishment owners in the Rizal province. Likewise, IT experts are also part of this study. Next slide. On to our limitations of the study. KainSaan does not include food establishments that are far from tourist spots in the Rizal province. KainSaan does not include COVID-19 heat maps and government travel restriction. KainSaan does not include information about nearby tourist spots. KainSaan does not include food establishments without business permits such as pedicab vendors and the like. KainSaan does not accept food orders from customers and tourists. Next slide.
Our review of related literature. Food applications. Online restaurant reviews offer a massive amount of data that includes consumer feedback, consumer overall rating, the food votes served by the restaurant, and tried by consumers, and location that the review party can refer to improve the consumer experience. Next. Consumer behavior. People tend to have difficulty in choosing whether, what, or where they want to eat, which leads people to be indecisive. Consumers take numerous factors into consideration when making a decision to select a restaurant. Next. Data mining recommender. In content-based filtering, according to a text classification survey by Mladenic, in the technique of content-based filtering, the similar items are searched by the algorithm in the system. Then the system constructs a model based on user interest. In collaborative filtering techniques, data and information is collected by the system from different users, and then based on likes and dislikes of the user, the results are compared and similar items will be suggested. Next. Dijkstra's algorithm. Shortest path problem is one of network optimization problems where its solution mostly uses Dijkstra's algorithm to find minimum distance between two vertices. Next. Synthesis of related literature and studies. KainSaan will be beneficial to food establishment owners to advertise their business to gain customers. Like mentioned in previous studies, food applications help food establishments increase revenue and the number of customers. Customers or tourists have a hard time finding a place to dine in, which brings the importance of a recommendation system in food applications. KainSaan will utilize two recommendation methods with the use of data mining techniques, collaborative and content-based filtering. KainSaan will also work as a navigation system that will navigate the user to the selected food establishment. KainSaan will use Dijkstra's algorithm, which finds the minimum distance between two vertices that is commonly used for solving shortest path problems.
Requirement feature matrix. To fulfill the requirements that are needed for KainSaan, requirement 1, KainSaan will have a feature that adds, update, delete food establishment details. For the requirement number 2, KainSaan will have a feature that views food establishment details, search nearby food establishment, navigate to food establishment, rate and add review for food establishment, search or sort food establishments, and recommendation of food establishment. For the requirement number 3, KainSaan will have a feature that views food establishment details, rate and add review food establishment, user comments to food establishments, and search or sort food establishment. For the requirement number 4, KainSaan will have a feature that rate and adds review food establishments, user comments to food establishment, recommendation of food establishments. Next slide po.
For our use case diagrams of KainSaan, the first use case is for searching nearby food establishment. The trigger of this event is when a customer or tourist is looking for a place to dine in that is nearby. The use case includes food establishment details, then extends viewing of food establishment specific details and navigation. The flow of events: the customer or tourist must be logged in, the customer or tourist then selects nearby page, then KainSaan displays a map and food establishments nearby. The customer or tourist then chooses a specific food establishment and navigates. KainSaan then navigates user to the selected food establishment. For the accept conditions, in 3.1, if the user wants to go back to the nearby page, the actor can select the back button, which goes back to the event number 2. For the second use case is for viewing and selecting food establishments according to customer or tourist preference that includes navigation. The use case includes sorting of food establishments according to customer or tourist preference that extends viewing of food establishments, menu, and adding a rating and review. For the flow of events, customer tourist must be logged in. The customer or tourist selects list of food establishments. Customer or tourist selects the type of food establishment, type of cuisine, and sort by the rating or price. KainSaan then displays food establishment based on customer or tourist preference. Then the actor chooses a food establishment, which then the actor can view the menu, navigate to the food establishment, or write a review. For the accept conditions, 2.1, if the customer or tourist have a food establishment in mind, then the user may use a search feature that is available in the application. For 4.1, if the customer or tourist does not like the selected food establishment, the user can go back to the list of food establishments. And finally, if the customer or tourist does not want to write a review, 7.1 and 8.1 will not be displayed. For the third use case, is for adding food establishment to the application. The actors included in this use case are food establishment owners and the system administrator. The use case includes validation of fields and validation of food establishments via updated business permit. The use case extends adding of menu, an invoice for reviewing inputted details, and accepting of food establishments. The flow of event of this use case, the food establishment owner must be logged in. The food establishment owner then selects add food establishment button. KainSaan displays food establishment form, which the food establishment owner inputs details. The food establishment owner then proceeds inputting details about the menu. Once done, KainSaan will display an invoice which the food establishment owner must review. Once satisfied, the food establishment details will then be sent to the administrator for confirmation. For the accept conditions, if the administrator rejects the food establishment, the user will be notified that the food establishment has been rejected. For our activity diagram, these are the activity diagrams of KainSaan that are derived from the use case above, which are searching of nearby food establishment, viewing and navigating of food establishment, and adding of food establishment. For the database schema of KainSaan, it is comprised of 13 tables, which are table admin, table user that extends to user previous logs, and user favorites. table for food establishment, which extends to category, type of cuisine, views, parking information, and rating reviews. Then for the table of menu, which extends to foods and foods categories. So for the prototype of KainSaan, we will be playing a recorded video since Android Studio IDE is up at least 4 gigs of RAM. We will now open the KainSaan application. The user will be redirected to a KainSaan logo and welcome page. Then he will be redirected to the login page if it is the first time installing the app. If the user does not have an account, the user needs to click on register. Now let's try to register to the application. Now the user will be redirected to the homepage where trends and recommendations can be seen. Also, take note that the user is now added to the cloud database. Now, when the user wants to see list of food establishment, the user can click on the food establishment list, which is located on the bottom navigation bar, which includes sorting of food establishment by preferences. This includes category, which includes cafes, eateries, fast food chains, and food parks, and also the type of cuisines, and sorted by the customer preference, which are rating and highest cost to the lowest cost. When a user selects a food establishment, the user will then be able to see the full details of the establishment, which includes the address, the estimated price, and the parking information. The user can also view menu of the food establishment, which then can be sorted by the appetizer, the type of food, and sorted by the rating and cost. When a user selected a food establishment, he can then navigate to the food establishment and press the get directions button, which then the app navigates the user to the location. Now, when a user wants to see a food establishment that are nearby, the user can click on the nearby tab, the navigation bar, which display food establishments that are nearby. Now, when a user wants to add an establishment, he can then select a profile tab on the bottom navigation bar, then select add food establishment. Once all, then the user will be redirected to the food establishment form where he or she can input the details of the said food establishment. Once all fields are done, the user can click on next, which will redirect the user to the menu, which then he can add a food. The user needs to input the name of food, price of food, and the food category. Then you can click on the add food menu and the food will be displayed to the menu. Once the user is satisfied with all the information about the food establishment and the menu, you can click on review details, which will redirect the user to the invoice where he can see all the inputted details. Then once the user is satisfied, the user can now click on confirm and add establishment. Then the user will successfully add the food establishment to the application and redirects him to the home page. So once the user has logged in and when the user reopens the app, he or she will be redirected to the home page. The user also has an option to log out that redirects him to the login page.
Nakamute ka, Choy. Nakamute ka. Kay, nakamute ka.
Hello, okay na. So we have used a Likert scale that is compromises of the 5 characteristics, which is completely agree, neutral, disagree, and completely disagree. Then, so this is the questionnaire that we will be using to evaluate KainSaan. This is derived from the ISO 9126 that are divided into 6 characteristics, which are functionality, reliability, usability, efficiency, maintainability, and portability. So these are the references that we have used. Thank you. We are now ready for your comments and suggestions.
Okay, panel members.
Hello po.
Good
Can you hear
afternoon
me?
po. Yes po, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Yes. I just want to commend, puro kayo lalaki, pero maayos yung presentation nyo at lahat until the prototype. Okay. Kaya tinititigan ko nga kayo sabi ko, ba, maayos
Thank you
Yan.
po.
So, let's go back to your fishbone diagram.
Fishbone.
So your main problem will be the limited food establishment finder application at Rizal province only.
Yes po.
Okay. Is this including yung Antipolo Rizal ba yun? Rizal yun, diba?
Yes
Or
po.
dun kayo particular?
Particularly po,
Kasi dun yung maraming
selected,
establishment, diba?
selected tourist spots po. Ay, selected food establishment along tourist spot po ng Rizal province po.
Okay. So the material returns limited generic information about the food establishment. So the sub will be the information provided by the World Wide Web, by the website, and then the queried by most typical person. Okay, so bloggers. Then the machine does not include food. That's the main problem. Okay. And then the sub will be does not include eaters. Okay. Yeah. So okay tayo sa fishbone. You give the main problem, and then you also have the sub problem. Okay, so let's go to your objective. Yeah, so general is to design and develop a user-friendly Android mobile application that will automate traditional process finding food establishment. This is only, sorry, this is only for Android user, right?
Yes po. Since
Okay, next.
Okay.
Yeah, because alam nyo na si Apple.
madamot po si
To
Apple.
develop KainSaan where users KainSaan discover a variety of food. Okay, to measure accuracy of KainSaan. Ito lang, medyo na-curious ako. Paano kayo magme-measure ng accuracy when it comes to type of cuisine? Are you going to have
We will use
an
statistical tools for correlation. Then we will,
correlation?
yes. Then we will
And
use,
then-
yes po, ma'am.
Saan nyo siya i-compare? Kasi accuracy yung pinag-uusapan. So, sino
We will,
magsasabi na accurate siya?
depende po, the user po. So we will measure the accuracy of KainSaan by type of cuisine estimated price. Then we will, then it will came from users po. Ayun po yung main basis po namin.
Okay. Wala kayong may user kayo tapos yun yung paano niyo ma-measure yung accuracy nito? Type of cuisine, estimated price, kasi given na lahat yan 'di ba sa inyo?
Yes po, ma'am.
Given
This tackles
kumbaga
po
parang scope niyo siya.
this tackles po the recommendation feature po. So the KainSaan application will suggest food establishment to users. Then that para po ma-measure yung accuracy ng recommendation ni app kung nakakapag-provide pa siya or nakakatulong sa decisiveness po ng customer or tourist in choosing a food establishment.
Okay. The number 3, okay, given na yan kasi based yan sa ISO 9126, right?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yan. Sige, doon na po tayo sa prototype.
We will now open the KainSaan app.
Okay.
Ma'am, i-play ko lang po ba?
Bali, ano yan? Sige, okay lang. Bali, yung user nyo, pwedeng magdagdag, tama ba? Ng
Yes po.
restaurant.
Establishments po. Yes po.
And then at the same time, pwede rin namang maging ano ka lang, mag-view ka lang.
Yes po, pwede rin po mag-view lang.
And you can have favorites, right?
Yes po,
You
favorites
can list favorite restaurant.
yes. And makikita rin po yung previous logs po na ninavigatan mo na po.
What are the reports that can be seen in your application? Reports.
The top rated po, the most visited food establishment, which is makikita po sa home page. And other than that, the logs po ba will it qualify
Can we
for
see
the
the
reports?
prices
Yes po, ma'am. The prices will be
of
seen po.
each and every restaurant? Tama ba?
Estimated price lang po per head, per packs po. Okay.
And what will be the operation hours? May kasama ba dyan? Operation hours, like ano oras nag-open?
Yes po. Schedule will be included po.
Something to do with the establishment.
Yes po. Schedule
Meron?
will be included po.
Okay.
Yung date po and time po.
Yung navigation nyo, is it from where I stand?
Yes po. From
To
where you
papunta ng
stand.
Antipolo, ganon?
Yes po.
Or papuntang restaurant?
Opo, yes po.
Okay. Tapos, you can also filter by food category. And then what is the label beside? Ano yan? Yung the drop down, ano yung beside ng food category?
Sorted po. Sort by rating or
Sort.
price po.
And then you're going to use algorithm, right?
Yes po. For the shortest path po. For computing for the shortest path. And for the recommendation feature po.
Okay. Then yung questionnaire nyo, okay naman, there is confidentiality. Okay na po ako. Sige po, thank you.
Thank you po.
Ma'am Ria, take it away po.
Ayan, ako na. Take it away na ako, no? Sige. Naririnig nyo na ba ako? Kasi inaayos ko
Yes
yung...
po, ma'am. Good afternoon po.
Okay. Good afternoon. Okay. So, ganda naman yung mga sinabi sa ni Ma'am She kasi mukhang positive, ano? May mga hinanap lang mangilan nila. And yun nga, kinokomment niya kayo dahil puro kayo lalaki. That's nice. So, lahat kayo magdo-document and everything. Okay. Ako naman kasi ang tinitingnan ko lang palagi yung flow, no? So, I go for the flow dun sa chapter 1 and then flow dun sa chapter 2 and sa chapter 3, no? So, yung database schema kasi, i-check na lang natin yan. If it's not working, it would be changed, right? So, I would like to go to the fishbone diagram.
Magtanong. Speaker, meron po ba tayo makakatanong dito? Siguro sir, basta muna natin yung tanong po.
Okay, pinapanood ko lang muna. Sandali. Binabasa ko.
Okay po, ma'am.
Limited food establishment. Ayan, okay. Ito yung ito yung sinabi ko na, tama ba? Binigyan ko ng idea na what if ito na lang yung gagawin natin. Okay? So, food finder application in Rizal Province. Yun yung problema ko sa inyo. Kasi, di ba sabi ko, For the meantime, Rizal, pero dapat yung application mo, pwede kang mag-add ng ibang place.
Yes po, ma'am.
So, hindi lang Rizal.
So, for the meantime po, ma'am, scope lang po namin is
Ilalagay lang
Rizal.
natin sa scope na
But
itetest
i-prepare
muna
na
natin
po
sa
yung,
Rizal. Yeah.
yes po.
Yeah.
Yung
Kasi
implementation po ng app.
Hindi
Ah.
kasi maganda na sa Rizal lang tayo nakafocus. In any case, kung magagawa natin sa Rizal, madadagdagan yung app para sa iba. Kasi ang ibig sabihin nito, gusto natin mangyari dito, kahit saan tayo pumunta, kung ano yung place na pwedeng kainan na malapit sa kanya, yun yung pupuntahan niya, di ba? Tapos may option lang siya, like, gusto kong kumain ng beef o gusto kong kumain ng chicken, ibibigay niya, di ba?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so hindi yun.
So, ma'am, the application po is
Limited Food Establishment Finder application. Tapos.
So, ma'am, yung ano po, yung scope lang po ng study is in Rizal province lang po. Pero yung application po can add food establishment po anywhere po.
Yes, so, yes.
Ayun po yung feature po.
Ang scope natin ngayon, it will first be tested in the province of Rizal.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so yun yung scope and limitations. Doon mo ilalagay. Gets nyo?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Yan. Paano kaya naging problema yung information provided by the World Wide Web? Tandaan nyo, effects, result, effects, cause and effect. So, anong naging problema kay information provided by the World Wide Web sa limited food establishment? I would like to see an effect. Cause and effect. So, what are the causes to have a problem in limited food establishment finder applications? So, in your mga techniques, I would like to see that.
Okay po.
Okay. Yung difficulty in choosing a food establishment to dine in, that is a problem, yes. And then, numerous factors to take in consideration. Ali yan. So, siguro, yun, in form of, numerous factors to take in considerations. Okay. So, what are those? The food, the price, okay. Lack of place to recommend food establishments. Sige. So, ganun na lang yung gawin niya. More or less, alam naman niyo yung idea kung ano ilalagay natin. Pasok tayo sa general problem tsaka significant statement objective. Kasi meron na kayong questionnaire na ginawa or nabanggit, right?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. In your objective, but I would like to see the problem. So, yung problem na nakita mo. Yan. Yan. Okay. The problem of limited. Yan. Yun. Ito mas tama. Kasi yan yung sinabi ko dun sa isa. Na kung ano yung naandun sa ulo, yun dapat naandun sa problem. Right?
Yes.
Okay, so to develop, right? So therefore, ang solution nyo will be the general objective that you would like to develop a food establishment navigation system, right? Okay, so tama ito. Pasok tayo dun sa general and then specific objective. Okay, so to design and develop a user-friendly environment that will automate finding food establishments in a particular area. Tama? In a particular area, hindi along tourist spots in the province. Okay? Next. So, in number 1, alam ko, yun na yun eh. Baka may iba kayong ibig sabihin. Satisfies users' need for food to measure accuracy to make sure kahit saan acceptable. Okay, so satisfies user. So, saan ilalagay ito sa measure nyo?
Satisfies
If I were you, I'm going to have a specific objectives that will cater for the measurement of functionality, reliability, usability, efficiency. So there would be like, for example, a specific objective number 1, So sabi mo, to measure kernel, sasabihin mo, the functionality, reliability, and usability will be the measures to be used to measure the attainment of specific subjective number 1, number 2, number 3. Parang ganun. So,
Okay.
alam nyo, bakit nyo, meron kayong objective? Kasi di ba, specific objective needs to be attained. And how are you going to measure that it was attained? By measuring it. Diba?
Ma'am, may rating and review po kami. So, it can be measured po yung satisfaction ng users by stars, yung sa rating po.
Well, aside from that, so wala kayo dito nun, right? So dapat meron. So I would like to see paano natin ma-measure. Ang problema nyo, may measure kayo. Wala naman akong nakikita sa ano yung i-measure nyo. Di ba? So I have to have that, right? I go for accuracy, like type of cuisine, estimated price, parking information. But then there will be another questionnaire for the measure of accuracy of kahit KainSaan. Tama ba?
Yes.
May nahanapan na ba kayo?
As of now, wala pa po, ma'am.
Oo, kasi kailangan nyo maghanap. Kasi it is a recommender system. Recommender system itong ginagawa nyo, right?
Yes po, ma'am. Yes.
So, may measure kayo dyan. Tapos yung user acceptance lang naman yung mini-measure nyo dito sa pangatlo. Sa number.
Yes,
Okay, so ISO 9126 yung gagamitin nyo dito, right? Ang tanong
Yes,
ko naman would be, is this really needed? Baka naman hindi lahat, baka naman may particular part lang. Pero sabi nila, ma'am, hindi po, basta user acceptance, yan pong 6 na yan. Okay, so you have to take note of that. Okay, kasi nga man, incorporated nga naman sila. But then again, hindi naman 9126 lang ang pwede nyong gamitin. Pwede pa kayong gumamit ng iba. As long as you have cited and you know that that was given or used in a particular research activity that is the same as yours.
Okay po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. Then you go to the use case scope. Yan, ayan na yung sinasabi ko, no? So, kasi kayo palaging siguro ano lang to, nasa PowerPoint lang, no? Kasi ako pag gumagawa ko ng scope and limitation, sa bagay, depende sa writing nyo yan, ano? But ako, I suggest, no, to write it in a paragraph in such a way that you are not stating that this is the scope and this is the limitation. Kasi masyadong technical. The scope is, you just write it the way like you are talking to them. Like, ito lang gagawin namin, ito lang kasama nito, hanggang dito lang ito. Okay? And also, I was just wondering, bakit kailangan nyo ang IT experts?
Para rin po sa evaluation po ng sa ISO po, which is maintain yung sa survey po namin. Kasama po sila sa participants.
Maintainability.
Yung sa evaluation po, sa whole evaluation po ng KainSaan po, yung measure po.
Okay, kasi kung user acceptance, I don't go for IT expert kasi anybody can be user and anybody can measure. So pag pinasok mo si IT expert, you have to make sure the reason why. It's not an automatic that if you are going to evaluate a software, you need to have an IT expert. Kasi if you are going to look for user acceptance, okay? Kaya ko lang tinanong ito, dapat sasabihin nyo saan siya part.
Okay po. The users are ano din po, part of the respondents, and IT experts po are responsible po for the technicality part of the system po. So, dalawa po yung respondents, which is the user and IT experts po.
Sige, kayo bahala. Basta pag sinabi niyo yon, ako kasi as I panel, hindi ko basta sinasabing expert. Wala namang expert dyan. Di ba? So, may sinabi kayo kung saan nyo gustong i-test. Okay lang sa akin. Maintainability po kasi. Okay, that's good. Kasi talagang IT expert ang magsasabi na yung software ay maintainable. Di ba?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so wala akong problema doon. Basta alam nyo lang kung saan nyo gagamitin. Ha?
Okay po, ma'am.
Okay. Okay na, use case diagram na tayo.
Ma'am, ito pa po yung limitation pa po. Magkahiwalay po kasing scope tsaka limitation.
Yun na nga. Space lang para sa akin. Nagbabasa ako, ha? Naririnig niyo ba ako?
Yes po, ma'am.
Tanggalin na natin. Bakit may business permit pa? So, sinigurado niyo may business permit.
Para po hindi po makapaglagay po ng mga scam na establishments po sa system.
Okay. Does not accept food orders when customer. Oo naman. Pero sige, okay naman. At least nakalagay. O, sige. Ito lang use case, no?
Tatlo po yung use case namin sa PowerPoint po.
Wait, asan yung module? Yung pinakang kompleto. Hindi ito, no? So, ilang modules kayo bali meron?
Use case po is 5 pong use case sa documentation po.
O sige. Okay na ako dyan. Sige, okay na. Meron kayong sinasabi kaninang search sa sa
Yes po.
yung
Wait,
searching.
pakita ko po sa prototype, no?
Oo.
Ito po, may search po dito ng feature na magre-return po ng search establishment po ni user.
Looking for a place. I can search through type of dish, right?
Type, food establishment name, locations, type of cuisine, or ayun po, yung dish po.
Okay, sige. Now, palagi ito tanong ko. Kasi ito, sasali ang mga establishment sa inyo. Right?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. Ngayon, ang tanong ko would be, ano ang report na i-generate niya para kay establishment, para kay user, at para sa inyo as the admin?
Sa admin side po, ma-generate po yung mga number of visitors netong food establishment na to while using the app. And ganun din po sa food establishment owner. Then sa system administrator side din po, makikita din po yung mga trendings na establishment which is malalagay din naman po sa user side. Yung ito po sa homepage po namin, malalabas po yung trends. So,
Oo, pero yung pagiging e-commerce nito, wala ba? Like for example, manalaman ni establishment na itong customer na to ay nanggaling sa nakita nila or nanggaling sa site nyo. Or kasi I don't know paano kikita yung yung system nyo?
there are two ways po para kumita po yung system
Sa ads
po.
lang.
Sa ads, and the other
Oh.
one is by commission po.
Right. So by commission, paano nyo ma-check na tama yung commission na binibigay sa inyo?
We will generate a report po na si user ginamit yung app namin para pumunta sa specific
Okay,
establishment.
so that's what I am telling you. So how would
Okay
the
po.
establishment know? How would you know na yan? So di yan yung sinasabi na how did you how did you know of this establishment? Tas sasabihin nila kung saan, di ba? Okay, para ma-generate ang mga report. Nagagets
Okay.
nyo ba? And then,
Yes po.
report would be, yun nga, sabi nyo, sino yung pinakang marami sa area na ito, ganyan. Tapos, if you could put some recommendation or feedbacks na masisigurado natin na hindi ito feedback lang ng mga may-ari din na merong ibang account. Okay? Sige, doon lang ako. Ha?
Thank you po.
Okay, so,
Okay.
tawag dyan, group 8, you can leave now. Alright, so
Thank
take
you
note
po.
of the suggestions by the panel. Mag-deliberate na kami.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
You're welcome.